friends, Vec here, and it's almost 3 a.m., so you know what time it is. My mind is racing. But tonight, I wanted to talk about something that I find myself thinking about a lot, and I guess before I get into it, let me package it in a question. What is your favorite era of video games? And I'm more so referring to, like, the generation of video games. Like, for me personally, I think the Xbox 360 slash PS3 slash Wii era of video games is the best, in my opinion, at least. Every time I think back to it, I just get this warm feeling. Back then, for me, and maybe some of you, video games still felt so magical. Like, it's hard to put into words. Sorry if I'm all over the place. I don't script these, I just talk and then cut it to make it slightly understandable. I just have such a fondness for that era of video games. Like, video game culture as a whole was at this tipping point. That era of video games was smack dab in the middle of the early 2000s version of video game culture, where it was still really niche and you were kind of looked down upon if you liked video games. And the current culture that we have now, where gaming is cool. You like Fortnite? Yeah, I play Valorant. I play Sky. Or, I don't know if that's a fucking hero in Valorant. It sounds about right. It was this tipping point, there's probably a better word for it, but I don't know it, so I'm just gonna move on. Just being involved in video games, just by playing them, or reading, gaming magazines, or watching gaming YouTube videos, it felt like you were part of something so much bigger, even if you weren't in the industry. Like, I remember when I was, younger then, I was watching, like, Mega 64 videos, reading any fucking gaming magazine that I could, watching shit like X-Play and Attack of the Show on G4, fawning over games like Little Big Planet and Metal Gear Solid 4 and fucking, like, Battlefield 3 and shit. I would come home and just play Battlefield 3 for, like, unironically, probably like 5 hours. It was a very palpable feeling of, wow, I'm experiencing something so unique, and people put their blood, sweat, and tears into making this experience for me. Like, even the fucking commercials back then. Do you guys remember the Halo commercial? I don't remember if it was Halo 2 or 3, but it was like, I'll just put it on screen. Man, the Gears of War Sound of Silence commercial, Oh, man, I'm just thinking about it now. I have this big smile on my face. At the risk of sounding like oh, video games were better back then. I played Skippy the Bullfrog on the Commodore 64, and then I went to World War II. Fuck, where was I? Oh, God. Oh, yeah. It felt like video games still had this soul to them. And I'm not saying now that video games are soulless, but the industry as a whole, from an outsider's perspective, I'm not claiming to know anything about the inside. It just feels like it's just so... it's just... hollow. And not every game is like that. But a lot of it is just like, yeah, our game, guess what? My name is Kirk Gerbils with Baby Boy Studios, and our game is gonna have abilities, and it's an FPS, and there's gonna be loot, and it's esports ready, and I have 50,000 buzzwords to tell you now at E3. Oh, you want to go to the booth? The doors are locked. You're gonna have to listen to what I'm saying to you. Sit down. Do you guys remember the way that E3 used to make you feel? I would get so fucking excited for E3 because I knew that what they were gonna show me was gonna be fucking crazy. And there's awesome games there now. When was the last E3? Like 2 years ago? And I don't know if it was because I was just a fucking kid or whatever, but again, it just felt so magical. It was like you could feel it in the air, like you could almost reach out and grab it. It was just so pure. It was straight up for the love of video games. Mostly. Obviously, it was probably still for the money for a lot of people, but I just don't find myself getting excited for most games anymore. And maybe it's just because I'm older, but I don't know, a lot of games now will just ship fucked up and buggy, and like the marketing will just be ass. Like it won't even like make you care. I cared about games that I never played back then. I bought a PS3 just to play Little Big Planet on it, and I didn't even beat the game. And then I like sold my PS3, and that microsecond of me playing Little Big Planet was a more enjoyable experience than a lot of games that you could get now. I wanted to be a part of the video game culture back then. I was excited to be a part of it. And now, like, yeah, games are cool, but it's just like nobody, well, not to say nobody, obviously some people do. But like most AAA studios don't even give a fuck. It's just like, yeah, make the devs work crunch, release it. I don't care if in level 3 there's a hole in the ground, and if you fall into it, it'll blow your console up. I do not care. I don't know. It could just be the nostalgia talking. Maybe I'm just... Fuck, maybe I'm an old man now. 24, fuck it. Put me in the rocking chair. I just miss the way video games felt. And it was bound to change. Everything changes. Change is inevitable, no matter what you do. But God, that time was awesome. And I still watch all those old Mega 64 videos from that era. And Mega 64 has remained consistently good since their inception, pretty much. I don't know how this became praising Mega 64, but if you haven't watched a Mega 64 video, go fucking watch it. They're awesome. But yeah, sorry if a lot of this didn't make sense, if I was just rambling. Again, I don't script this shit, I just turn the mic on and I talk. But let me know what your favorite era video games were in the comments below. I'd love to talk about it. And I'm going to leave in the description below a video of old school, well not old school, I mean maybe it's old school now, but like video game commercials from that period of time. I watch it sometimes, it makes me smile. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you understood it a little bit. And as always, I'll see you all again eventually. But until then, goodbye.